on the news that rallies, gatherings will not be allowed, that roads will be blocked, convoys leading into the states will not be allowed. I knew that we were the targets. But then I said, this is not political season, this is not campaign time. We are not having a rally. This is just me, the senator representing Kogi Central, coming down to have people to celebrate this festive time, the Salah, with you. And there is nothing wrong with that. I am breaking no law. This is Nigeria. We have the right to be free, to express our choice in gatherings and celebrations. We have customs. I can give you the microphone. Me from coming home to celebrate Salah with my people, there's no law at all. And therefore I knew that even though I am not a lawbreaker, I appreciate the powers of the governor. In addition, I also read the statement, the press release from the Commissioner of Police. Okay, I also respect him. But again, we are guarded in our home. This is not the streets, right? So we are breaking no law. And also, we came in with a helicopter. We didn't come by road. So that means we did not break
no convoy, no convoy, no convoy, no convoy.
But now let's get to something very important. Let's get to something very important. On the 23rd of February, listen, Arahim, this is very important now. On the 23rd of February, was it 23rd? No. 28th of February, 2023. On the 28th of February, 2023. You all voted for me across party lines. You lined up in the various polling units and you voted for me to emerge as your senator, right? You were not forced. Your votes were not bought. You stood under the sun to cast your votes for me, Natasha, right? So that I will represent you in the National Assembly as a senator, right? Don't let anybody steal that from you. Don't let anybody steal your representation away from you. The entire country is suffering from bad leadership. The only reason why I have been persecuted so much in the past 1 month is because I dared the bad, corrupt system. I refuse to do things the way they usually play politics. I refuse to be silenced. The past it's been a year and 4 months, right? Yes, I was sworn in November 2023. So that makes it a year and 4 months, about 5 months, a year and 4 months. It has not been an easy journey. It's just that I had it all, I kept it all inside. It's not been an easy journey. The empowerments you saw here, the police stations that we built, the schools we're rehabilitating, the numerous water projects, it had to take a whole lot of lobbying amongst my colleagues, ministers, and many others to get these projects to you. It's not as if they were giving on the platter of gold. I went out there in Abuja and I worked for you. I used the office that you gave me to work for your good. But as I walked, I created enemies. As I worked diligently, as I brought the dividends of democracy to you, I created enemies among some of my colleagues. There are some that felt I subjected them to ridicule. They told me, Natasha, your empowerments, by your empowerments, you're making our constituents insult us. So I kept on apologizing to them. Distinguished, I'm sorry, that's not my intention. Distinguished, I'm sorry, that's not my intention. But in my heart, I knew that I had promised that I would spend every day working in Abuja for your good. And even though I apologize for them, I will not apologize for bringing good to you. Yes, I stand by my words. I was harassed by my Senate President, who thought it was normal for him to get what he wanted. A beautiful woman, I want you, so I should have you. But he didn't get that through me. Ibira women are not cheap. Ibira women are women of dignity. You might see an Ibira woman if she's divorced. She's divorced because she just did not feel connected to that marriage, but that does not make her a bad person. But I will say this. From the time I told him no, things got difficult for me there. But I still kept it here. I was still focused on my work. Senator Iriti mentioned that of all the 4 female senators, I enjoyed the most privileges. But I want to let her know, what she thought was privilege was actually sponsored by my husband or myself, not the Senate President. The fact that many people thought that because the Senate President was friends with my husband, therefore all the projects I had here, he was the one who gave me any subsidy. He gave me nothing. So I'm telling Senator Iriti, I did not enjoy more privileges than she herself enjoyed or the other women. I actually suffered more. But because I did not want to put out my pain, I wanted to keep that harassment in secret. That was why I kept on working. Even if it had to require me spending my own personal money, I had to do it. And people thought it was Akpabio doing all for me. That's not so. It's good I put it right. But the peak of it happened on the 30th of January. This year, on the 30th of January 2025, there was the groundbreaking ceremony of the 5 mini LNGs in Ajakuta. That project angered him, and I'm saying it on camera. He got very angry, and he called a number of people in the cabinet, questioned them. How come that project found its way here? And in his words, he said, how can such resources, gas from the Niger Delta, be moved to the north? That he will stop it. And I will prove to you what he did. After the Senate President removed me, by the way, it is because of the 5 LNG projects that Akpabio removed me from the Committee of Local Content. Because he said, ever since he made me as the chairperson of Local Content, I have used that office to promote the North. That was what he said. So 5 days after the groundbreaking ceremony, they removed me from the committee to the Committee on Diaspora. And that's okay. I took it in good faith. But what happened after that? He commissioned the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, commissioned his SLA, his senior legislative aide on Niger Delta, Dr. Ominimini, who is also the Secretary of PANDEF. He commissioned him to start online and media propaganda against the 5 LNG plants. You can search on Google, you will see. Dr. Ominimini sponsored a lot of write-ups calling on President Tinubu to cancel the 5 LNG projects. It's all there, you can see it. Check Tribune, Vanguard, This Day. You see Google Dr. Minimi. And I asked, are we not human beings here? Don't we deserve projects? Don't we deserve development in Kogi Central, Kogi State? Is Kogi State not part of Nigeria? How can a man, how can the Senate President, who is the Senate President for the entire country, how can he use his office to promote regional divide? Akpabio is not the Senate President for South-South. He's the Senate President for Nigeria. And it is wrong for Akpabio to use his office to commission and pass his SLA, Dr. Minimini, to call for the cancellation of the 5 LNG plants. Those 5 LNG plants were approved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And for the fact, please, can you give him the applause? Yes.
For Tinubu,
The 5 mini LNG projects, they were approved by an executive order of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Akpabio does not have the power to stop it. Akpabio does not have the power to stop that project. We have been quiet for Jakarta Steel Company. But you know what? In the 1 year and 4 months I have spent in the National Assembly, I understand why Jakarta Steel Company is not working. Because of many interests. Nigeria is such a country that once you take one progressive step forward, you have 5 dragging you backwards. Especially when that project is in a land that people feel does not deserve of anything progressive. Sometimes I wonder, if a Jakarta Steel Company is in Lagos, will it stay moribund? No. In summary, there's a whole lot happening right now, but a lot is politically motivated. And these people are using the institutions to silence me. And in silencing me, they are silencing you.
You go green.
On the 20th day of February, was the day I protested the move of my seat. I walked into chambers and I was told by the staff, Senator, you're not sitting here anymore. Your seat is by the corner, near where the workers are sitting down. A corner where the cameras will not get to you. In summary, moving my seat from where I sat before was a way of taking away my visibility. And I said, no, I will not move to that corner. I was not notified beforehand. I was not given a chance to ask, why are you changing my seat? Why can't you move somebody else there? Why me? But I will say this, that I have not told people before. 2 days before that day, a senator called me and said the Senate President had complained about my sitting in that position. And I asked why. He said each time the Senate President looks at the screen above me, and he sees me there, it angers him. I have not said this anywhere, but I'm saying it today. I was told about it 2 days before. And the night before that day, I mentioned to my husband, I said, the Senate President's hatred for me is deepening. You see, it got to a point whereby everything I did annoyed Akpabio. It got to that point where everything I did, the sheer presence of myself annoyed him. And that is what you call bullying. I was actually being bullied in the National Assembly by himself. Through his actions, I was being bullied. You know, I mentioned, and many of you know, for the past 8 months, I have not been speaking on the floor of the National Assembly.
Yes.
There was an incident that happened here in Oboroke, where after a heavy rainfall, a grandmother and her child were swept off by the flood. It was erosion. There was a body there. I penned that down as a motion so I could read on the floor and have the Senate President call on the SGF's office, because they do have these ecological funds that take care of erosions. I penned that down. Twice I wanted to present it, he refused me. So what does that mean? Each time the Senate President denied me a chance of presenting a motion of your needs is a time he silenced you and deprived you of your rights as a citizen. So all the Senate President did to me the past 8 months, silencing my bills, silencing my motions, and not allowing me to participate in debates, he silenced the voice of Kogi Central. I need him to understand the gravity of that.
Are you happy with this?
So I was suspended. When it all got too much, I decided to table. Oh, by the way, after that seat move on the 20th, that was when I sat my husband and I told him everything that I was going through. I had to open up. So, after I went public with the sexual harassment, the day after I tabled the petition, I was suspended. I tabled my petition on the 5th of March, 2025. On the 6th of March, I was suspended for 6 months. And they say my suspension is on the grounds of gross misconduct. And I ask, what exactly makes up the gross misconduct? Because I refuse to move seats? When there is a video of how the Senate President himself, when Saraki was a Senate President, you also how he behaved. I actually applied more decorum. I wasn't moving around as if I was going to fight. I didn't exchange words, and neither did I insult the Senate President. I minded what I said. I was very intentional. I put facts out. I said, Mr. Senate President, I'm not afraid of you. May Yawa. You want to suspend me? And for clarity again. For clarity. My outburst on that day to the Senate President was in response to the fact that he told the Sergeant at Arms to take me out and told the clerk to prepare for my suspension while I was reading an Order 10. Yes. If you watch that video, I stood up and I said, Order 10, please, 3 times. I took the book and I started reading Order 10. The Senate President forgot that his microphone was on. And he said, Sergeant at Arms, take her out. I'm not his employee. Akpabio did not employ me. No. He can't tell people to instruct me to be taken out like I'm nobody. Because by telling me to be taken out, he was like telling the whole Kogi Central to be taken out. In addition, while I continued reading the Order 10, the next thing he said, clerk, prepare for her suspension. What does that tell you? He has been looking for a means of suspending me. He has been looking for an opportunity to get me out of that place.
Are you happy with
what that means is that my suspension was premeditated. It was planned. He had conceived it and was looking for an opportunity to strike at me. Because when they say I was suspended for gross misconduct, I'm like, we have seen senators fight. We have seen videos where senators will insult themselves and tear their clothes. Were they suspended? So what did I do to warrant being suspended? Anyway, then I will say this, and I'm saying this openly as well. On the 14th day of March, at about 10:30 p.m., on the 14th day of March, at about 10:30 p.m., I got calls that Governor Yahaya Bello was with Akpabio. That night, let me say this now. On the 14th of March, at 10:30 p.m., mind you, 2 days before that, which was on the 12th, Akpabio had called Governor Dodo on the phone that he should commence my recall. But Governor Dodo told him it would be impossible. No, hold on. This was what Governor Dodo said on the 12th. Listen. He said,
All day.
on the 12th of March, Akpabio spoke to Governor Dodo to recall me. But he told him to be impossible because the masses are with her, the people are with her. But Akpabio was not satisfied. He then sent for Yahaya Bello. And it was actually Senator Asukwo from Cross River that drove Yahaya Bello from Hilton Hotel. I was informed of everything. And when I got to know, hold on, the meetings was in two folds. He told him to commence my recall. And that he was going to fund it. Of course, monies changed hands that night. The second thing he told him was that he should try and kill me. I didn't make this public, but I wrote to the IG of police. And Akpabio told Yahaya Bello, I am saying, standing by what I've said. He told him that he should make sure that killing me does not happen in Abuja, it should be done here. So it will seem as if it's the people that killed me here. I didn't make that public, but we did notify the security agencies of that. I called on the media houses. I called on This Day, I called on Punch, I called on a number of journalists that I know. I tried to get them publish the information ahead of time. That look, this is the nature of the meeting. They are going to commence my recall. But of course, the print media, if you don't have evidence, they will not be able to put it out. So they said, Natasha, do you have any evidence that your recall is being planned? I said, I don't have any evidence, but I know that the meeting took place and this was what transpired. But you see, 3 days after, the recall started and they called me, oh, you said it. I said, I did tell you that this was going to happen. But what is it now for us? We saw what happened. They came around, deceived our women that there was an empowerment program going on. They told them to come out with their voters card and lined up. They took advantage of our illiteracy. They took advantage of poverty. And to many of you, even those of you who are here, I watched the video of the poor old woman pleading that I should forgive her, that she was told. If you are here, or her son, whoever it is, tell her I'm not upset. Even if those of you, even if you are here and you actually were cajoled or deceived to sign, I'm not upset with you. Because I know that they will not succeed with that illegal act.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
The recall will not be successful by the grace of God. You see, the few videos that circulated and pictures were in Ododo's ward and Yahaya Bello's ward. most parts of Kogi Central, there was no activity. So what did they do? They went into some rooms and assembled a few of them and started filling in the petitions themselves. That was what they did. And I believe INEC has been notified of this. And this actually is another litmus test on INEC to redeem its image. The recall. Should I give you the mic? Should I give you the mic to speak? Or should I give it to speak? No. Please, can you step down, please? Don't come. And then you, Professor. If you come to me again, I'll give you the microphone to talk. So like I said, the whole country and the whole world is on INEC. The nature in which the petitions, 250,000, really? 250,000 here in Kogi Central came out in just about how many days? In 2 days? In 2 days, 250,000 people came out to sign petitions for the recall of the most performing senator in Nigeria. Thank you. But you know, this is Nigeria. This is Nigeria. And we're a country trying to strengthen our institutions. Are not perfect. And when some rooms for some, should I say, misadventures to take place. So we must not fold our arms. We have seen, from my own personal perspective, what I see INEC doing is aiding and guiding the petitioners on how to perfect their illicit acts. The first time the petition was submitted, they didn't have address, phone numbers, and all of that. So INEC went out to guide them on how to submit information that will perfect their petition.
Is it right?
And what did they do? The petitioners who were from the other party, the APC, now submitted a letterhead. What's the name of it? Kogi Central Political Frontier. Yes. And the address there was number 4, Oboroke. That address does not exist. And we ran a check on the status of registration of the association which sponsored my recall, Kogi Central Political Frontier, and the CAC reports came negative that that association is not registered. So I'm still waiting. I'm wondering why INEC has not yet made a statement to that effect, or sent people down to Oboroke here, which is just 5 minutes away, to ascertain whether that address is real, or have we stooped to the point whereby fictitious non-existing associations and individuals can call for the recall of a senator? Are we in a kangaroo country? No. We should not allow that. So now, I don't know whether the process will be stalled, but we are in courts as well. Also, I don't know when they will come down here to verify you, but I will say this. If the time ever comes for the verification of the 250,000 people that signed for my recall. I trust that you will do right. I trust that you will speak, that you did not... What's going on with that car?
Overheating.
It's overheating.
Yes, overheating.
Tell them to come out of that car and switch off.
Yeah.
Let me, please come out of the car. Look at what's going on. I'll give you an example. I'll give you two examples. Two examples of how corrupt the institutions are. And that even the good people in this institution that are trying to resist corruption, how they get punished and intimidated. On the 25th of March, that was just last week Tuesday, was supposed to be the final hearing and decision on my suspension at the Federal High Court. You know, we went to court on the suspension. So the judge, Justice Egwato, was supposed to sit, take all the pleadings and decide, which I believe would have been in our favor. And that means we would have had the suspension quashed, and I would have resumed the duties at the Senate. But what happened? As soon as the judge resumed, he recused himself from the case. What that means is he withdrew from himself from the case. And why was that? The moment the case was assigned to him, the Senate President wrote a petition against the judge. Wrote a petition to the NJC and the DSS. And we all know why. Maybe the judge refused to play game, and that's why they wanted to take him out. But what I got to know, allegedly, is that the night before the Tuesday, which is Monday the 24th, that some threats were made, and that was why the judge recused himself. Allegedly, I heard so. So what does that tell you? Even though we say judiciary is corrupt, there are some good heads in the judiciary. But again, these good people, they get harassed and intimidated to do bad things. In a way, I would say God bless Justice Egwato, even though I wish he did not recuse himself. I wish he had the courage to just sit that day and determine the matter on merit. But God bless him anyway. Our case has been assigned to another judge, forgotten her name, a lady.
That's right.
Justice Nyako, yes, Justice Nyako. And one more thing I was going to say, yes. You see, the fact that we have leaders, when a person is appointed to a leadership position or elected to a leadership position, that does not mean that they are absolutely right in every decision they make. I was suspended for 6 months, which is against the Constitution. Nigeria's Constitution does not allow the suspension of elected officers. But again, the Senate says it is guided by its rules. But what does the Senate rule provide for suspension of? It says maximum 14 days. Today is the 26th day. So who else between my truths? You know what I'm saying? You see, here you have those in authority violating the Constitution and playing God through abuse of power. Not only is it illegal, because the signatures that were used attached to my suspension were all attendance sheets. They were not signatures that were attached to the suspension report. administration itself is saddled with lots of irregularities. And it amounts to gross they themselves, the entire team that sat on it, and the Senate President, that he was a judge in his own cause. All the entire procedure amounts to what they call gross irregularity, gross injustice.
Gross Akpabio.
And I know that in the fullness of time, God is going to turn around that for our victory. You see, lies may tarry but for a while. Truth will always prevail. But while we wait unto God, because you see, God does things in miraculous ways. God's time is different. I have had to sit back and ask myself, what have I done wrong? Should I have kept quiet, maybe? But then, how much longer will I keep quiet and watch this man stifle me in that place? Probably almost making me invisible, ineffective there. How long will I keep quiet? Especially when I knew that many women are going through the same thing that I went through there. Many of our daughters who are probably in universities, no matter how intelligent they are, some lecturers will have asked them to sleep with them before. It's a reality and nobody talks about it enough. Even in the banks or other corporate arena, we have some of our wives, our sisters, our mothers. Even though they are married, you will see their bosses asking for their bodies in exchange for promotion. And nobody speaks about it. So I have thought about this, I've reflected deeply, and I say, you know what? It's about time I speak up. Even though it's going to be difficult, people will attack me, attack my personality, my integrity. But you know what? I have spoken the pains, silent pains of many women. And I'm proud I did. Because next time, it will be easier for another woman to do so. And hopefully one day, we will have stronger reforms and laws that will protect women in political spaces, in corporate arena, or in schools everywhere. And women will feel safe, whether they are married or not. So this is a journey not just for myself, but for all Nigerian women. And I'm grateful for your support. I'm grateful for your love. It's not over yet. Let's join hands together and resist the evil intentions of those that did not vote for us, who think they have the right to recall us. No, we will tell them no. We love Natasha as our senator, and we appreciate the good deeds she's doing. And we are connected with her in this journey of progress and economic development. And we will continue praying to God for guidance, for strength, and ultimately peace in our lands. Happy Salah. Happy Salah, everyone.
Are you happy with the suspension?